Hello guys and welcome to this channel. This video is entitled The Usage of the Simple Present Tense in Research, Academics and Other Fields. As you may know, three tenses dominate the research, academics and the world of science. The first is the simple present tense. So in this video we will be looking at the application of the simple present tense in research, academics and other fields, its usages and applications. There are elaborations and explanations. Watch the video until the end. The simple present tense makes assertions or generalizations about ongoing conditions or states, and it describes existing habits or customs and comments on present time actions. Than any other tenses, it is the simple present tense which is most applicable in these areas. The simple present tense is used for factors and generalizations and truths that are not affected by the passage of time. It's not delimited by time. For example, if you look at the past tense, the simple past tense, some actions which are described in the simple past tense happen in the past time, or the other ones in the future time. Even the simple present tense is better in expressing or describing actions which happen at this moment than the other present tenses like the present continuous or present perfect tense. The simple present tense is the tense of science and truths and facts, expression of culture and custom. So there are important features of this tense usage within the academics, research and scientific fact areas. We will be taking practical examples from what I know, just across all disciplines or in sciences. So it could be very much important. I hope that you will attend the video up to the end. The other times, people use the simple past instead of the simple present tense. For example, some of the people whose mother tongue is not English may tend to speak about the present time in terms of the simple past, in terms of the past, which is not appropriate. But now, what I want you to know is that its application has to be appropriate. In many ways, the simple present tense serves the area of science, research and different fields as a backbone, and that is the backbone of academic and scientific writing. So it is chosen for its clarity, precision, credibility and authority. For example, if you use the simple present tense in your description of your findings, it has clarity, it doesn't have complications like the other tenses, and it is very much precise. And the other is that it gives you credibility to the point or to your findings at hand. And you can speak about your findings authoritatively with power that you have full knowledge about what you are saying. So how can it impact our delivery of information? So how can the simple present tense impact our delivery of information? The appropriate usage of this tense makes our academic communication clear, concise, and compelling. It becomes more appealing when we use the simple present tense in expressing or describing your findings. Of course, how the research was carried out or how the experiment was carried out in the past time could be the simple past. In the description or the telling about the findings, or the finding itself is more of the simple present tense. We are coming to the point, and I will go fast as much as possible. So, what does it describe in academic writing? In academic writing, what does the simple present tense describe? It presents universal truths, and it shares new discoveries, explains complex ideas, theories, and models. Different sciences do have their own disciplines, and these theories and models are used or told using the simple present tense. I will take different examples. I will take different examples for this purpose. So in the academic writing, the simple present tense is often used to state the objectives of the study, to interpret the results of findings. For example, if there was a finding and we are using some research output for academic input, we will be interpreting in such a regard. And we discuss the interpretations or the findings of the ideas, the significance of the findings, or to present the conclusions in general. For example, there could be such expressions which we have to apply. Look, this study examines the impact of social media on consumer behavior. This study examines or examines, for example, this expression which is written in pink is very important. And the other example is, the results show that there is a positive correlation between brand loyalty and customer satisfaction. So the results show that there is. It's not there was. The results showed that, if we say, for example, it will imply to the past, and that we may mean in this procedure that the result may not know the reality at hand at this time. So it has to be expressed in the simple present tense because findings are not delimited by time. And the other is, this finding suggests that social media marketing is an effective strategy for increasing customer relation. This finding suggests this. This finding implies that. This finding tells us that, we can say. Another example is the paper concludes with some recommendations for further research. The paper concludes. The paper concludes. Okay. The authors examine and compare the impact of social media on consumer behavior in different countries. This could be expressions which are extracted from some of the academic and paper writings, for example. So you have to be very much concerned about these expressions, especially subject-verb agreement. The authors examine if they could be the author, a single author. The author examines. In research papers, the simple present tense is also used to refer to results presented in tables and figures. In writing, as we have seen. So, for instance, when we are discussing tables, we can say, Table 1 represents the demographic characteristics of the respondents. Figure 2 illustrates the relationship between income and expenditure. As can be seen from the graph, the demand curve has a negative slope. We can say the demand curve has a negative slope. That is derived from economic theories. How does it tell scientific facts? How does a simple present tense tell this scientific fact? Scientific fact is a fact which is always fact and which is there, which is always true. And the simple present tense is the tense which describes something which is always true. The simple present tense is used to describe natural phenomena, laws, principles, or factors that are always true. Natural phenomena are, we can say phenomenon, phenomena is actually a Greek term which is taken as plural in English. Natural phenomena, we can say natural phenomena, and then are laws, are principles, for example. There could be natural laws, there could be principles which are followed by some society or some group. There are principles, actually. There are facts which are not deniable at any time. Example, water boils at 100 degrees Celsius and freezes at 0 degrees Celsius. The Earth revolves around the Sun and rotates on its axis. Gravity is a force that attracts objects towards each other and distance. So if you look at these verbs, the verbs which are used in these examples in the form of simple present tense are they are used to describe natural phenomena or the principle of nature, that which is always true. Is there a condition in which the simple present tense could be used to express the past? Is there any occasion or any instance in which we use the simple present tense to describe about the future, to tell the future? Yes, there is. The simple present tense is not limited to show the present time only. There is an instance where the simple present tense is used to describe the simple past. Okay. In this case, when we look at the simple present tense in presenting about time, it is true that it makes assertions or generalizations about ongoing conditions or states. But when we come to the simple present tense in showing the past time is about recounting ideas or information from the past that affect us in the present. There is an instance where some actions happened in the past time and we accept them as if they are impacting us at this time. If there is a sort of feeling or a sort of the presence of the past action involving us emotionally at this time, and if we remember all these things, in both negative and positive aspects, that's about recounting about the past time. And the other is about commenting or paraphrasing on the literary works or different films, for example, because literary works and films or other artistic works can impact us positively and negatively. And then that time, of course, the action happened in the past time, but there is an instance when we remember these actions which happened in the past time as if they are happening at this time, and then we apply the simple present tense rather than the past simple. At the same time, the present tense, the present simple, is used to tell about the future time. This is another instance. So in this case, when we use the simple present tense to express or to tell the future action, it means that it refers to the future events if those events are fixed or scheduled. And the other is that it refers to future events in adverb clauses when we use the main clause will instead of will. And in this case, we have to remember that there is subject-verb agreement between subjects and the verb. The first sentence, for example, these personal pronouns, I, we, you, they, take a singular verb like, and the third person singular verbs take es, they add es rather. They add es on the verbs. It's just to remind you. These 5 points which you can see for permanent states, repeated actions, habits, and daily routines, mental state verbs, and with performatives. This is when the simple present is used to represent the simple present tense. And then let's look at them one by one. He works at a hospital. He works at a hospital when you say that is a permanent state. And the other is he visits new patients in the afternoon. That is a repeated action. Another example is the Oromo celebrate Erecha every year. When we say that is taken as permanent state. It's the present time. She prefers hiking to trekking. This is a habit. He always lays tables for lunch. That is daily routine. The daily routine, for example, for someone who works in hotel. That's the daily routine. These are the present simple tense in presenting or telling us the present time. With performatives, we use the present simple with verbs which perform the action they describe. For example, I acknowledge, I admire, or I congratulate. All these ones are called performatives, and these verbs which are listed in here are technically they are called performatives. And then these performatives cannot be used in the simple past on the future action. They are rather used in the simple present tense. And performatives, as an example, I suggest you write on Animal Farm, then say I suggest, for example. I suggested. If I say I suggested, it cannot be a performative, but it could be a simple action which happened in the past time. But this is, if I say I suggest you write on Animal Farm, we say this verb suggest tells or shows my stance towards what I have to advise this person. We request that you read the terms and conditions carefully before signing. Suppose there is someone, when you sign some agreement in some office, and then they say, we request that you read the terms and conditions carefully before signing. If we say we requested, the thing happened in the past, and at this time it will not happen. We request, if I say that is my belief always, my advice or my stand towards what I advise. And then such verbs do not take the simple past form or any other form of tense within this meaning. We would advise you to arrive 2 hours before the flight leaves, say. So suggest, request, advise, including the modal verb would. These are performatives, and they are used in the simple present tense. Always we need to be careful. And then they are very important, actually, and we have to be able to remember all these number of performatives which I have listed. In different texts, they are more preferred. Let me take another example from the daily examples of the simple present tense, which is like a habit. British people drink a lot of tea. British people drink a lot of tea while Americans drink more coffee, for example. This could be as a culture or as part of the custom which they are accustomed to. Saturn displays large rings. This is general truth. I come from Oromia. Where do you come from? This is general truth. It rarely rains in the deserts. This is law of nature. We may have our own scientific analysis or reasons or justifications why it does not rain in deserts. And then these laws of nature are expressed in terms of the simple present tense. Water boils at 100 degrees centigrade. Water boiled, we cannot say. It rarely rained in the deserts. We cannot say that if it is to tell about the nature, the facts, if it is to tell facts about nature. So, ferns reproduce by shedding spores. This is what law of nature in biology. Electrons flow in a conductor and create electricity. We do not say electrons flowed or created, because they always flow and they always create. That is the law of nature. Timetables or trains, planes, and programs, for example, for prearranged actions, we use the simple present tense. For example, the plane takes off at 6:30 p.m. Takes off. It's possible the plane will take off at 6:30 p.m. Takes off and will take off are equivalent in meaning now. Even the simple present tense may be more expressive in time arrangement. the meeting begins tomorrow morning. The meeting will begin, we can say, in the form of expressing the future action in terms of the future action. But the meeting begins tomorrow morning when we say that it will begin. It has been prearranged. It's not just to show that the action will happen. Class starts next week. Class starts next week. So class will start next week. It's about an arrangement, and it makes us be aware of what is to happen in the future. And number 3 is why do we use a simple present tense? There is an action, and some actions happen in the past time, but still we are using the simple present tense to express about the action. I've already mentioned earlier, and let me take another example from sports commentaries. Example, Hill kicks the ball and passes it to Dawson. Okay, when say Hill kicks, of course Hill kicked it and passed it to Dawson. And then, during sport commentaries, of course, when the commentator speaks this, and when the thing happened, there is a matter of seconds or minutes between the speech and what happened. Of course, what happened at that time, be it some seconds or some minutes ago, that's simple past. There is a time span between them. So, during such actions, we use the simple present tense. Then we say, he kicked the ball and passed it to Dawson. We say, it cannot be used as a commentary. Rather, when we are to tell some sort of report to our friends about the football. Zidane passes the ball to Henry. Henry cuts inside. Okay? Passes. Cuts. This is a simple present tense. But the thing happened in the past. Now, why do we use the simple present tense to express the past? It is in a form of recounting or commentary, giving it commentary. Because we feel the thing happened at this time, is happening, or it is creating some sort of impact on us at this time. And another instance is that we use the simple present tense for news headlines. If you have seen news headlines or magazines, for example, both online or printed media, we see that the headlines are, rather than making them in the simple past, they are in the simple present. For example, foreign minister resigns. Of course, the foreign minister resigned. That's a simple past. But here, the headline expresses foreign minister resigns. Okay. Second quake hits Japan. Hits. It does not say hit, the simple past. Scientists find eyes on the moon. It does not say scientists found eyes on the moon. Grammatically, we can say we can take the simple past, but that is not the accustomed trend in the field of journalism. For the simple past actions which happened, they use simple present verbs. So the verbs resigns, hits, and find. These are the simple present ones. They are not the simple past. So we have to be very much careful of the simple present tense usage in other fields. It's not only in science or academics or scientific fact-telling. And the other instance is that we use the simple present tense in narrating or telling about scenes in different novels or stories, for example, or it could be film even. I can say, for example, in Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice, Elizabeth Bennet defies the societal norms of her time. It says defies. It does not say defied, because the thing is accepted as simple past generally. But if we are telling or making the story more lively and more senseful, we use the simple present tense rather than using the past time. Of course, there is a possibility when we use the simple past in narrating about the past or commenting about the past of novels or stories. Let me take another example. Another example from Things Fall Apart, Chinua Achebe's work. He has put a knife on the things that held us together, and we have fallen apart, concludes Achebe's narrator. The ones which are in quotation are the ones directly the expressions which are directly taken from the novel. He has put a knife on the things that held us together, and we have fallen apart. This is in another tense. This is which is taken directly from the novel, the story as it is, but concludes Achebe's narrator. Now, concludes when I say that is my commentary, my word, my verb. I have not said concluded. I say concludes Achebe's narrator. So this is what? This is when we apply the simple present tense in expressing situations or stories which were accepted as a simple past. So we have to be considerate of the time expressions which we have to apply. For example, we can say at night, the weekend, still, always, usually, rarely, every week, every month, never, sometimes, in the morning, seldom. We can say these ones. So these are used together with the simple present tense, and we have to be watchful of applying the simple present tense in our daily usage of research, the academics, and scientific fact tellings. This much is enough, I think, and if you have comments, please give me your comments or suggest to me how I have to work on this video. Please do not refrain from speaking or saying anything which has to help me to develop this lesson more carefully. Thank you for listening. Thank you for attending. Please share. Bye-bye.